state of Colorado, and more than that, the nation has been touched by what's happened in Boulder this past week.
How will they respond to the developments of the past week and the passing of Sal Aunese?
This is going to be an emotional group today. It's going to be hard to measure how the emotion will affect this CU team. There's been such an outpouring of affection towards the team and the family of Sal Aunese.
You would hope that the kids would be able to put the tragedy behind them and come out and play hard.
These guys are in their formative years. They've never gone through anything like this. Whoever goes through this kind of experience.
Every sports person thought that we were going to lose that game.
They underestimated who we were.
We lived in a really tough neighborhood. There wasn't a lot of money in our household. There was 7 of us, then my mom and dad, and then we also had like aunts and uncles and cousins who would come from Samoa and they would stay with us.
There was like 20 people living in our Craft Street home back in the days when we were growing up.
It was a 3-bedroom home. There was also the garage / another bedroom, and then 1 bathroom.
Our house was like Grand Central Station. Sal was the youngest. He had his older brothers and also the family. There's a lot of athletes, so you always aspire to be as good, if not better than them.
He was kind of like a pisky kid. We'd always try to have him do his own thing.
My father's member from church was him and Junior Sal. We all grew up, went to church together, and those two would never play with the kids their age. We'd turn around and, hey, here come the 2 brats again.
It was a great time. It really was. Having Gatorade, I was always overweight. I was a little fat kid back in the day.
You know, they learned at an early age, you know, you're going to play with the big boys, come on, you're welcome.
Every day we had something going on. We'd be out there playing every sport that we knew and play cricket. Didn't know how to play cricket, but we played cricket.
His freshman year, his Pop Warner season, he started taking command and he quit following us around. He was too good for us.
Pop Warner was one of my highlights. 6th and 7th grade, I was able to play football. Coach Bickford was our coach. Our running back was Sal Aunese, and they put me at quarterback. You didn't have to do much. All you had to do is just hand the ball off to Sal. He'll run it, hand the ball off to Sal, he'll pass it.
I don't know what Junior was thinking. They called a play, and every time Junior would always throw only to Sal. I remember the coach saying, there's other players open.
You see Sal making tackles left or right, you just try to compete against that.
He had some leadership abilities in him at a very young age. Not too many 10 and 11-year-old kids stay late and work on their game. You know, he'd be doing push-ups and sit-ups while I'd be eating Pop-Tarts.
Sal was always working to be better. He was a measuring stick.
You know, Sal had a mustache. He looked like a grown man. They wanted ID checks, birth certificate checks. Yeah.
When high school came, we all were shooting to beat Sal. He went to Vista, I went to Oceanside.
It's the place where Aunese had his start, Vista High School outside San Diego. He's the man who gave Aunese his start, football coach Dick Haynes.
Coach Haynes, he'll go down as probably the greatest high school coach in that area ever. He brought the program to a different level.
He would spend the spring times up with Coach Osborne. So anything that Nebraska was doing, Coach Haynes would do. He took you to the level as a coach where you didn't think you can go. He was just a great role model for us. Coach Haynes loved Sal.
He was accessible to little person, old person, anybody on campus, and it was never, hey, look at me, I'm the football star. It was, hey, I'm one of you.
Now here's my vote for the most exciting player in the county, Aunese. Aunese takes it 85 yards for the touchdown. Now while you're watching this, keep in mind that Aunese is a quarterback.
It was just magical to watch him orchestrate things on the field.
I think he is probably the best high school athlete I ever saw. So he was unreal.
One of the things that you are going to find with our culture is that when you see another Samoan descent person, he's already automatically embraced.
I moved up to Oceanside the summer of '84 without knowing how to speak English. And at the time, Oceanside as a high school football team wasn't that very good. You know, so they were hoping that I'd come in and hopefully play and help out with their team at Oceanside.
Oakland, you could feel his heart. You know, he has such a great heart. And he was this massive guy.
When I arrived there, the story was that Vista and Oceanside are rivals.
You know, we went to the same churches, and when you see the same churches on that Sunday, you know, the Vista parents sat on one side, Oceanside parents sat on the other. It was very competitive. It really was. And it all started because of Sal.
Even the kids on our own team, they never stopped talking about how good Vista was. I've asked our coach, why are they talking about this kid? He explained to me, this kid is, this year, he's the #1 rated option quarterback in the state. And this is the first time I heard of a Samoan kid playing quarterback. I was like, wow.
No one could tackle Sal. I remember their head coach yelling out, he's got Vaseline all over him, we can't tackle him. Word came in from their sidelines that they wanted a timeout. The referees come running over to the huddle and start touching his jersey and rubbing his pants.
They came and pulled the socks down and they checked under his shirt.
I was like, this is crazy, because we know that wasn't happening.
And they're saying, Coach, he doesn't have any Vaseline on him. And he says, well, why can't my guys tackle him? And, you know, that was the top compliment he could have ever received.
This is the first time we defended, so, you know, going back-to-back, and it's going to keep on going to next year and coming years too.
We both have the common goals. My dad wanted me to come up to the States for a better chance of furthering my education and hopefully be good enough to get an athletic scholarship. It's not until our basketball season came around where I actually meet Sal. And from there, our friendship grew.
Growing up, we didn't have anything. You know, you come over to the house and you leave your shoes at the front door. When you leave, they might not be there. You know, Sal would just say, man, one of us is going we won't get the goods. And then so it was almost like this thing, like whoever does it first, let's go ahead and take care of the other ones, because he was our best chance.
Sal wanted to take care of my parents financially. That was one of his main goals, and the scholarships were the only way out.
The excitement was just astounding that year.
Any given Friday, there would be 15, 20 college coaches here.
To see people like Tom Osborne and other major college coaches walking around our campus, and everyone knew it. They're there for Sal.
Lincoln and Vista win CI crowns going away. Vista, the 3A title, 35-7 over Helix. Here's a look. Vista fans have plenty to celebrate. Panthers opened a few eyes with their passing game. Sal Aunese, 60 yards to Todd Baird, 7-0 Vista. From there, the Panthers don't need to pass. Aunese puts together what has become a typical night. This 49-yarder is an example. Aunese runs for 135 yards and 2 scores. This gives Vista a 21-0 halftime lead. Second half, it's more Aunese. He's so tough on the option. This time he goes 35 yards, and the Panthers are on their way. 35-7 Vista. The Panthers end the season at 13-0, and they win a third CIF title.
And to win the CIF, that's the best that you can do for high school.
Coaches everywhere coming over to the house to talk to Sal and my parents.
Who's this guy? Who's this guy? It was like, man, I don't know. There's just too many people coming over here and too many people calling on the phone.
It was a very, very competitive recruiting battle.
It was so crazy that we were just hoping that he would just pick the right college.
Back in the 80s, it was always USC, UCLA, Oklahoma, Nebraska, playing for a national championship. I didn't know Colorado had a football team.
Here I am coming to Colorado as an assistant coach. Nobody's ever heard of me. Our facilities were the worst in our conference. We didn't have any momentum. We had very little support. People were frustrated. Everything was uphill. I was focused. I wanted to coach championship teams. And so when I got here, I said, we're going to build a champion. We're going to do it the right way, but it's going to take time.
I spent the entire day at Vista High School babysitting Sal. He'd go to class, I'd be waiting for him when he got out of class. I'd walk him to class, just making sure that after every meeting he had with someone, that he was still coming to Colorado. Tom Osborne came in while I was there babysitting Sal, just flew in to see him because they'd been recruiting.
When I saw his film, I realized that Sal was a great player. He was not a good player, he was a difference maker.
You could even see on film the kind of leadership that he displayed. You could see how guys would follow him. He just had that sort of, whatever it was, he had it, if you know what I mean.
We were looking for guys of substance, character, guys that cared about other people, not just themselves. Oklahoma and Nebraska were amongst the top 5 teams in the country year in and year out at that time. So we set our sights, not only on the field, we tried to beat Nebraska in recruiting.
Coach Osborne's like, come on, Sal, you want to play with a winner, you're going to sign with a winner.
Les Miles called us in California and said, Coach, the guy we want is right here. You got to come and help me get him. Aunese had a national reputation. He was a kid who was recruited outside and inside the state of California.
And we just didn't want to take a chance on losing Sal.
Aunese was what you want in a quarterback, particularly if you're an option team like we were. He was a rugged kid. He was smart, he was competitive, he was unselfish. His teammates loved him. He threw well enough, but he really could run.
But one thing Sal mentioned to me, he says, I want to build a team.
We convinced him that he could make his own mark. He was the missing piece to our puzzle.
We started talking and he was throwing little hints about, yeah, he really loves CU. They're up and coming. I said, they're a doormat, dude. What do you mean up and coming? I said, Nebraska's just running things, man. You're on TV almost every Saturday.
Sal was a natural leader. He knew where he wanted to go. I trusted him more than I trusted myself. Whichever school that he wanted to go to, I said, okay, I'll go with you at that school. And at Colorado, we felt like the doors open. We could come in and compete right away. And it just felt like we're walking into another family.
You know, I get a call and you know, it's Sal, and he said, hey, you know, I'm a buff. And I go, man, do you know you're heading to college, you have to actually be humble? And he goes, what are you talking about? I go, I know you're buff. I know you're working out, cool, come on. He goes, no, man, I'm a buff. I'm a Colorado Buffalo, and I hung up. You know, I just thought he was joking. I was like, Colorado Buffaloes, what? Where is that? You know, I don't think Colorado, but where's the college? Who goes there?
For incoming freshmen hoping to play sports at major colleges, new eligibility rules have just gone into effect.
To play team sports, entering freshmen must now have a total of 700 points out of 1,600 on college entrance exams. Athletes with lower scores may enter the colleges, but may not play or even practice until they earn a C average for 1 year.
We signed in February, and sometime in June or July, I knew that I was Prop 48 and that I wasn't going to be able to play.
And so are all these other young players, sidelined by Proposition 48, a new rule of the National Collegiate Athletic Association.
We were the top of the recruiting class, and I was devastated.
Any kid that goes away to school, he's just a freshman, and he can't play with the team, he's just got to concentrate on the books, that's hard.
It's about time, real frankly. We have been admitting students into college that are not capable of doing the kind of college work they should be able to do.
Sal had a photographic memory. You can't tell me that he couldn't compete in the classroom because he was.
But the new rule has opponents because it seems to discriminate against inner city kids who score lower on college aptitude tests.
Well, it had nothing to do with his grades. It was the testing, the SAT testing.
You know, I didn't really want to get caught up in the whole racially biased thing about the SATs, and I was a 3.5 GPA, and it was embarrassing because now people were looking at me like, oh, that's just a dumb jock.
White folk sitting behind the desk trying to decide what's best for minorities, they made that decision. Minorities would never have made that decision. They knew that's not a smart strategy.
They couldn't work out with the team, they didn't eat with us. They were like pretty much just ostracized, just outcast.
But what Sal was most disappointed about, that he felt that he let his family down.
He was upset that he was Prop 48, but he wasn't going to let it slow him down.
And we sat down, me and Sal, and then he sort of asked me all kinds of questions. I said, are you okay? I said, well, as long as you're here, you know, I won't be able to make it over here by myself.
Sal walks up, him and Oakland walk up together actually. He was like, hey Flanagan, when we gonna start working out? I was like, just got here. I said, let me enjoy Boulder first. And he said, well, we gotta start working out. We gotta get ready, we gotta get ready.
And quarterbacks have the ability to look beyond their own assignments. Quarterback has to coordinate 10 other guys. He sees the big picture. So off the field, they think like that too.
We kept our own schedule every single day. You know, me and Sal and Oakland, we met in that weight room. We did our program. We did what we had to do in running. We hit those bleachers. Even while they were out there practicing, we were up on the stands. We were doing everything that we needed to do to be successful.
Sal was the one that let me and Jay know, just don't be discouraged. You know, just hold on to your dreams and continue to work hard in school.
I almost didn't even want to go to the first football game that we had at home. And here comes Sal knocking on the door. Come on, we're going to breakfast, and we're going to go do this, and we're going to do that. We're going to show up, we're going to be there when the team come out, and we're going to cheer these guys on.
He was a great encouragement to JJ and Oakland.
this is just a moment in time. Our time is coming, and we're gonna make our mark here.
A player going through fall practice and the season usually doesn't get a chance to interact with the rest of the university. Sal was really well respected, especially in his dorm, because everybody got to know him.
It was through Sal that I met him.
Sal looked out for Oak, because Oak doesn't talk much.
I was kind of shy, due to the fact that I really speak English that much.
We only communicated through him a lot of times through Sal. We would say something to Oakland and, Sal would talk to him. Oakland would respond back. And of course, it got better over the years by the time we were seniors.
We were the originals. Oak, Sal, Christy, and myself.
So we did a lot of things together.
We went bowling, we went to movies, listened to music, just hung out, watched TV, things like that.
We became real close. Sal was an outgoing person. He would say hi to everybody.
We used to have parties in our dorm room. So Chrissy's down the hall, and then the girls would come over, and Sal would ask people, what's your social security number? What's your birthday? What's your home address? What's your home phone number? About an hour later, Sal would get on the table and just start spitting out people's social security numbers, phone numbers, this, that. He should have been a math major, that's what he should have been. Sal was funny. He's like a jokester, always laughing and giggling. Just being around him was like contagious.
I was genuinely drawn to him. He had that way about him, and I think anyone who met him felt that way.
Jeff Campbell, he was a little bitty white boy, like 140 pounds. No fear, and just unbelievable fast.
And not only walked on to CU, earned a scholarship, a full scholarship, in 1 week.
Second down and 13. Hatcher pitching on the reverse. Here's Campbell. He's got running room 40, 35, 30-yard line, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. He scored. Touchdown for Jeff Campbell.
It was myself and Sal in Oakland that sat on the sidelines and watched this kid. I guess it was a little envious and a little jealous.
Jay is intimidating. Didn't say much. Came with a whole bunch of accolades. I didn't really know how to approach Jay.
This guy was a walk-on. I was highly recruited. I was supposed to be that guy that, that helped Colorado beat Nebraska. He stole my spotlight.
I think we all stayed away from each other a little bit. We didn't come into a situation where they were a real big family as a football team.
It wasn't a team then until Sal.
Sal was, at the time, the #1 option quarterback in the country. So in the back of my mind, I was thinking, well, there's only one quarterback on the field. And he's not here now, but next year he will be. So I better figure out what position I want to play. So I switched to defensive back. Sal was the hope.
We projected Sal to be our quarterback, but he had to earn it. We were going to give it to him.
Whoever the starting quarterback was going to be, they were going to have to beat Sal Aunese out because he was such a fierce competitor.
At that time, Hatcher was the starting quarterback, and Sal was, he was like on his heels.
We were struggling as an offensive team.
Incomplete. It hit Flanagan right between the 2 and the 9.
Everything that we were doing was below the ground. It hadn't sprouted yet. And so it was slow. You just have to believe when no one else does.
Bad handoff.
People started calling Sal, we want Sal, we want Sal. Coach Mack and the staff finally decided to put in Sal. And I remember Sal running over to me. He wished him good luck. And then he said to me, watch, you watch what I'm going to do. That was it. And it took off from there.
1st and 10 at the 23-yard line. Out of the bone. Here's Aunese rolling along, and he cuts it upfield. He's across the 30.
I don't think they really have ever seen that type of quarterback before.
Sal could have pitched that ball. Sal could have handed it off to that fullback, but Sal kept it.
Yeah, I'm on the headsets with Jerry DiNardo. He's upstairs. He goes, "Holy cow, Marty, did you know he was that good?" And I mean, nobody could tackle him.
This kid was a warrior. This kid was a competitor. This kid had fire in his eyes and fire in his belly. He was fearless.
Aunese is going to run it at the 20. Aunese to the 15, to the 10. Aunese to the 5, touchdown.
That's not an easy thing to do, to come into major college football off the bench 2 or 3 games into the year and run for 185 yards.
That's a lot of yards. That's domination.
Aunese for 20.
It was a gate opening for him and for our team.
He clearly demonstrated that not only was he going to be our quarterback, he was going to be one of the great quarterbacks in the country.
When you get a quarterback who's not afraid to get hit, who wants to run the football and can run like he could, you got yourself something special.
Yeah, Sal was a tough guy. He wasn't like a Tom Brady type.
He was so tough, he'd fight anybody.
Aunese getting outside and finally right down at the 40.
Sal was a quarterback, but he was an offensive lineman by nature. You know, like his mentality was like that smash mouth.
He was a competitive guy, but he wasn't into himself. He was into the team.
Yeah, there was a team. We weren't close. The white players stayed with their own race. The black players do things on their own. With Sal's personality, it didn't matter who he was talking to. You're on the team, you're my teammate, and you're my brother. And I always smile. He always smiled.
One thing I know about Sal and Oak, when you're friends with them, they will do anything for you. You are part of their family.
Sal Aunese was at that foundation of birthing something special here in Boulder.
And then immediately the student body and everybody embraced him.
When Sal was voted the Big 8 Newcomer of the Year, it wasn't a surprise to us.
Our phone would ring off the hook constantly for interviews with Sal. Sal wasn't stuck on himself. You know what I mean?
He didn't tell me, but I went to the supermarket and I saw it. So I bought all the magazines and I went home and gave it to my brothers.
People were screaming. I mean, we were running around the house, outside, just in excitement.
You know, but Sal, all the success that came, he never changed. When we win, he say it was a team effort. When we lose, it was his fault.
Yeah, we didn't win the conference championship. We didn't go to a bowl that year. So Sal was not happy because he got an award. Sal wanted to win championships.
Every time we go to sleep, me and Sal, I would wake up. I looked up in my bunk bed. He's not there. I went, get ready for class. I came back. He's in the room. I was like, "Where'd you go?" He said, "Man, I ended up falling asleep. You know, wherever he was doing it." So again, he would never tell me what he's up to.
We were on a spring break. He was stuck at school, and I stayed at the dorm too. And so we just hung out a lot. There was an attraction there for sure, and became a little more intimate.
You know, he really told us, I said, "Oh, he's been saying Christy." I said, "Holy smoke."
That's Coach Mack's daughter.
I don't think he was afraid of my dad, but it just was something we felt like shouldn't be known. You know, I mean, we liked each other, we hung out, and I didn't know where it was going to go after that. Neither did he.
I asked him, I said, "What are you doing seeing the coach's daughter?" I said, "Why? I can't see the coach's daughter. What's he gonna do? Take me to jail?" I said, "Okay, Sal." And I would be you to say something like that.
A person's strengths can also be their undoing. Sal Aunese was very, very competitive. Maybe too competitive.
In March of 1988, Aunese stormed a dorm room after a student yelled racial slurs from a window.
These guys that lived above us, you know, they probably said some stuff they shouldn't have said.
So Sal said, okay, you wait. I'm coming up there.
Sal get into words with him.
He was just sort of scaring the kid.
The guy pressed charges against Sal, and
then he ended up getting charged.
Aunese wound up in jail, and Coach McCartney suspended him from spring practice.
You got all these guys depending on you on a football team, and you're going to take things in your own hands. You can't do that, even if it's racially motivated. You want him to rise above the situation.
At the time, only minorities on campus were athletes. So everybody knew that we were on scholarship. The rest of the student population, they were in high cotton, basically. They portrayed it like Sal was out of control, but it wasn't that.
With us, with the Samoan kids, he knew the handcuffs went on. Not only hurting the team, himself, but also the name of his family.
My parents didn't know, and I wasn't gonna call and tell our parents something like that because it was like, oh my goodness.
So it basically had him like a chain gang type deal. My opinion was to try to humiliate him.
So the worst thing and embarrassing thing is when they bent you down, because they knew who he was.
12 days in jail is absurd. Punishment did not fit the crime. I never felt like they treated him properly. Did they overreact because he was a minority? Maybe. Yeah, I'm not saying that doesn't go on in Boulder. So I think he stepped back and realized the role, the responsibility he has as the most high-profile player on the team.
After that incident, there's nothing but forward.
Going to recruit Darian Hagan, who was a repeat of trying to recruit Sal Aunese. The chief competition was Nebraska, and we already had Aunese. And I was trying to convince Hagan in his home that we had a guy that was really good and that he would be shaped to take his place someday.
He just said, hey, you come to Colorado, you know, I'll give you a shot to be a starting quarterback.
I had been hearing this stuff about Hagan. I really didn't like Hagan at first.
I never watched film. No, not at all. I bragged a lot. I was cocky. I was a riverboat gambler. I would go out and just play ball and play with reckless abandon. That would get me in trouble, especially my freshman year.
I don't even think I took him seriously, you know, the first time he stepped into the huddle.
So then one day I told Sal, then what's up with this Hagan kid? Because we were going to scrimmage. And I said, Sal, I'm going to smack that kid in that scrimmage. Sal said, Timmy, that kid's going to be good. You leave him alone. Don't do nothing to him.
What was his role going to be?
You know, I came in here and I declared that I was going to be a starting quarterback, self-proclaimed.
When we leave, this kid will win national championship. He knew that Hagan was that good. But I knew it too, and I feared for Sal's job. And Sal wasn't worried at the least.
I'm from South Central Los Angeles. Many people call it the concrete jungle. The streets pretty much raised a person like myself. My area was Crips, but if you walk 3 blocks north, then you were in blood territory. So you constantly had to know exactly where you were. You had to wear certain colors. If you didn't wear the right colors, you were getting beat up. I think every kid that came from the city had a chip on their shoulder. They always had something to prove.
We were a team on the climb, but we hadn't really demonstrated how competitive we could be. Iowa started the season ranked #1 in the nation. Their first home game was our first road game. The temperature that day had to be near 100 degrees.
We get off the plane and the door opens up and it just like humidity just hit us. Boom.
When you train at altitude at a place like Boulder, you're not ready for that humidity. There's nothing that prepares you to go in because you can't hardly get enough air.
We were underdog, I guess, by 14 points.
You know, Iowa has this big tradition of leaving the locker room painted pink, you know, to try and soften you up.
Everything's pink. I mean, the toilet seat's pink, the sinks, everything.
So it kind of ticked us all off. We came out with a determination. This is the game that's going to propel us into the national media.
That place was crazy. Over 100,000. He couldn't even hear himself think.
Here's Aunese rolling into the left side on the bootleg. He's going to go for a touchdown for Colorado.
I remember him coming to the sideline. He was like, man, it's so hot.
I think Iowa lost 3 or 4 players of dehydration in the first half. We lost 3 or 4.
Little problem with the heat out there. Not too often do you see the water boys take water to the referees and umpires. It's really hot down there.
Bad. At halftime, we were so fatigued, we couldn't walk up the stairs. We had our meetings on the stairs. Second half, it was a fist fight.
First and 10 for the Hawkeyes from their own 23-yard line. Tony Stewart to the outside of the 30, out of the open field, brought down at the 40, a first down. Here is Aunese going to throw long down the field, and it is complete down at the 10-yard line, the 5-yard.
Back and forth. It was smash mouth football.
They give it to Bieniemy, nothing there. Johnson hit him and stopped him cold in his tracks. Second down and 2 at the 19. Hartley rolling, throwing, complete to Ward at the 5. He's in.
As time starts winding down, we're fatigued at that time.
We're down by, 4, 5, 6 points, whatever, and we're on our own 20-yard line with less than 2 minutes to play. Sal came in the huddle, and we're not saying a word because we're thinking we lost this game.
Sal, when he's around a bunch of adults, would be very low-key, soft-spoken. You'd have to pry him to get anything out of him. You put him in the huddle, there's fire in his eyes. He's a completely different person.
Sal comes in the huddle, he looks around going, what's wrong with you guys? We're about to go down the field, and we're going to win this game, and then we're going to celebrate, and we're going to get on the plane and go back home.
Aunese throws complete to Campbell. Second down play. Aunese on the roll. Throws complete. A first down.
Sal had something that they never had there before. He could make things happen, and he knew he could. He had a gift. He really had a gift.
First down, a sneak by Aunese. Did he get in? Yeah, he's in. The touchdown.
And sure enough, who's the one to take us down 80 yards? Who's the one to actually get the winning touchdown? It's Sal Aunese.
And beat the team that had started the season, ranked the #1 team in the nation. That was big. That was a springboard.
That's what turned our program around.
It energized the program and all the players that was on that team.
Colorado was the most impressive football team I've seen, and I say that to this day.
Here's Sal giving it off to Bieniemy. Bieniemy breaks the tackle across the 30. There he goes.
They made it scary when you think about how talented they were.
We could see that we were closing the gap. We could see that we were becoming very competitive, and yet we were a very young team.
Aunese shoots the pass down the sideline, and Campbell makes the catch at the CSU 25-yard line. Aunese has Hemingway and Bieniemy. Fake it. There's the pass. It's caught. Pritchard at the 5. Pritchard. Score. Touchdown for Pritchard.
We knew that it was just a matter of time before we became a national power. But if people think that it's just a smooth, well-oiled machine, no.
The year began with scandal. A Sports Illustrated article that implied the Colorado lineup was littered with rapists and robbers. The accusations were not always supported by the facts.
It's terribly unfair and bad journalism, by the way, to lump together different incidents of different natures from different campuses involving different players and put them under one umbrella and say, that's what's going on with college sports.
You know, we had some guys that were doing some foolish things, and to automatically characterize us as thugs was wrong.
We had no major stuff going on back then.
It was way out of line and over the top. But you know, you can't dictate
to these guys in the media what they do. The football players at that time was on a short leash with the law.
We have a bunch of kids here from inner city that's dealing with some racial tension in Boulder and not knowing how to handle it.
There's a very fine line of being on the right path. Take a half a step the other way, you could get in trouble.
They had this event in Boulder every Halloween called the Mall Crawl. One of the guys just breaks off from the crowd and runs all the way up to my truck and just kicks my door on the driver's side. We get into a fight. Police came up and I was trying to explain to them, I don't even know who these people are. I'm just trying to get out of here to go home. The exact words that came out of the police officer that was there was, "That's it, your black ass is going to jail."
We were always being watched.
Campus cops driving down. He sees a bunch of blacks at this restaurant, so they get out. They start hitting this guy with batons. Little did they know that was Darian Hagan.
Players worked to turn around their image.
Say, listen, guys, we can't do this anymore. It's something that the community doesn't like, the police department doesn't like, and it's a bad reflection on us, so we're not going to get in trouble anymore.
Yes, we were having problems, the same kind of problems that we have in society, but we were working hard to correct them.
I thought it was unfair that people blamed him as a undisciplinary coach and that he couldn't handle us, because that was far from the truth. We feared Coach Mack. When Coach Mack walked into a room, it got quiet.
Coach Mack started reaching out to these people, meaning the police chief, the Boulder campus. So then they start coming to our practices. They start going on the planes with us. They got to know us. All of it stopped.
CJ and I, we would pray to God and Sal wouldn't get hurt, so we had to go in. We playing against Kansas. This was my first time sharing a field with people other than African Americans.
He'll keep it himself. He's into Kansas territory.
Sal had bruised his ribs, so they took him into the locker room to shoot him up, and then he was gonna come back out. So I had to just go in and play for a little bit. So I'm in the huddle, you know, with 5 white offensive linemen. They all staring at me looking for direction, and I couldn't get the play out of my mouth.
What do you think happens to a guy when he lines up across from a guy who's bigger, stronger, faster, meaner, and tougher than he is? Where do you go? To hide. There's no place to hide.
From the 30. Hagan, nowhere to go. Loses the football. It's loose. The enemy is on it.
Coach McCartney would call the play, and all I had to do was say, "Ready, break." And guys like, this dude from South Central LA, in the huddle with these white guys, he can't call the play.
You draw on your teammates and you learn to take on those kind of challenges. That's a difficult thing. There's nothing that life serves up that's a laboratory like football is that helps a guy become a man who's been a boy.
All I remember, Coach Barnett saying, okay, we have a run to pass play. So I'm like, okay. And I checked to a high school play.
Hagan keeps it. Pass the pitch with the enemy, and
It just came out. You see the offensive linemen, they all like turn their heads and look back at me. And then Eric Bieniemy is calling timeout.
I guess they don't want to mess around. They want to Nessie back in. Yeah.
Run off, Sal run out the locker room. Coach Barnett puts him back in. And he comes to me, he goes, you just embarrassed yourself. You just embarrassed this university. He said, go sit your down. I'm like, I didn't want to play anyway.
A good look at Sal and Nessie.
See, even if Kansas could stop CU and get the football back, they've got to score twice.
I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it.
It was evening. We're trying to have dinner and Sal didn't want to eat. I knew something was wrong, so we all walked out of the house following him.
And I said, what's up? You know, what's going on with you? You don't feel good?
He shook his head. He said, Christy was pregnant.
I came home, my parents were sitting next to each other, and I just blurted out, I'm pregnant. And my dad got up and started pacing, and the first words out of his mouth were, whose is it? And I said, you know, it's Sal's. I don't remember his exact words, but I know he was shocked.
I was totally blindsided by that. You know, the fact that Christy McCartney did not tell her father that she was dating the quarterback of his team is an indictment of the father.
At that point, it was just straight fear.
But I know a lot of guys were talking and afraid for him, you know, because he did have to take that long walk upstairs to go talk to Coach Mack. Whew, glad it wasn't me.
I held my daughter accountable. So when I confronted him, I told him very directly, this does not affect your position on the team, just like it didn't affect Christy's position in our family. We still loved her.
I found out about Christy's pregnancy from Christy, and I was shocked. Why the coach's daughter? Hello? I didn't even know that Sal and Christy were dating.
And it was pretty obvious to me that he was not in love with my daughter. He was not shirking the responsibility of having gotten her pregnant, but he wasn't intending to marry her.
And I know that hurt Mac. I know that hurt him a lot.
Christy, you know, because of her last name, she had it tough.
My daughter was humiliated. She was made out to be a public scandal. They made it appear as if she was giving herself to all the players. As a father, it just broke my heart. It does to this moment. The only reason she was subjected to that kind of notoriety and suspicion is because she was my daughter. No other girl would have to go through that. So I could see all that. And really the truth is she liked Sal.
It was a very lonely time for me.
When young men get a disproportionate amount of attention in high school, they have to be corralled. You have to help them make that adjustment, and it's not smooth.
A lot of guys, when they're highly recruited and they've been getting all this press, you know, it goes to your head. You kind of think, okay, well, I just came from high school, I set all these records. I'm not sitting on the bench.
Eric was getting a lot of playing time, and I wasn't, and I was bothered by that. Here we are watching our counterparts, and they're talking about Heisman trophies. We wanted to be a part of that. It's probably not an NFL scout knew who I was.
Well, it was exciting, you know. What would happen when I got to 1,000 yards, seemed like I got a little too excited and fumbled on the next play.
The locker room was divided. It was awful in there. It was a me-first attitude that a lot of guys had, including myself.
Everyone wanted to be the star. We thought that we were the epitome of football. We hadn't done anything yet.
ESPN CFA Prime Time has number 8 Oklahoma at Colorado.
The problem for Colorado is Oklahoma and Nebraska. Tonight they have Oklahoma, one of the great programs in the history of college football.
They have beaten Colorado 11 straight times. They have not given up a touchdown in the last 3 games. Yet this is a game Bill McCartney is convinced his team will win. He has spent the last few days very emotionally trying to get his team ready to play.
We went toe-to-toe with Oklahoma.
It was Pritchard, left-handed quarter, and he's down the sideline. So some first play, razzle-dazzle by the Buffaloes.
We gave them the best punch that we could give them.
Team third quarter, Sooners in their 23rd. Thompson to Snell, Oakland, Salavea. On second down, they're in the eye, and it's up the middle of the field. And Jim Campbell has it at the 49-yard line. Right up the middle. And running behind them is Bieniemy. Stopping, and then getting the first down. He might score! Something that had not happened since 1984. A Colorado touchdown against Oklahoma.
Now they're going back strictly to the option. There are no more field goals.
No more field goals. They're telling Sal Aunese. Still trying to get into the end zone.
You surprised Colorado's been as good as they have on offense?
Well, they've had the big play. They had big play just to death, and they had a hot hand. 84's got a hot hand. Sal did a good job, but I kept thinking we were way behind, but we're still ahead in the ball game, and now it's tied, so I believe we'll win it.
There was an internal turmoil that he had to deal with that he wasn't showing.
When he found out about Christy, it was a heavy weight on his shoulder. His personal life is getting to him.
And that's not something that you can just turn on and off. Your focus gets shifted a little bit. I don't care how strong of a person you are, that's just going to happen.
Aunese has Bieniemy, and a bad pitch, and it's recovered by Oklahoma. The play was falling apart as Aunese, as an afterthought, dumped it off.
They put us on the ropes, and we couldn't get ourselves off.
But the Sooners were just a little bit too much for the Buffaloes tonight as they win it 17-14. Oklahoma 6-1.
When we lost that game, he was the first one to address the media. He came straight out and told them we lost because of him.
And I know he took every loss that we had hard, all of them. It probably felt worse to him because he felt like his focus was off, and it probably was a little bit.
If we had beaten him, it would have been an upset.
One day in practice, Coach Barnett and I got into it, and Sal just pulled me aside, and he was like, look, you need to start paying attention. You need to start doing the little things because you're going to be a great player. He said, you're better than me already. You just don't know it. And just those words right there brought us closer together, and I just started hanging with him more and started emulating him in practice.
We targeted Nebraska. They were the team we wanted to beat more than any other team.
I made it my personal vendetta to make sure that when we suited up against Nebraska, they was going to get nothing but the best from it.
We were measuring our program by our ability to compete with Nebraska. In that game, J.J. Flanagan, the fastest guy in the field, breaks into the open to score a touchdown. He's all by himself. He drops the football.
Nebraska gets the ball, and they beat us 7-0. You know, we were in shock.
I tried over and over again to figure out why I dropped that ball, you know. And it all comes back to I just wasn't there. That was like the final straw of 88 for me. Nothing was going right. The opportunities I was getting to play was pretty much just scrap plays, and I really wasn't contributing to the team. I just wanted to get out of there and prove to a whole different crowd that I still had it. I was ready to walk away from the bickering instead of sticking it out.
And that's when it all started coming out, that guys were talking about leaving and stuff like that. I mean, we had a bunch of them that were our top guys that wanted out.
You know, Coach Mack always stressed the fact that we're a better team than the record shows. It just got bitter, and we sort of lost the point of what we're there for and what we're trying to accomplish as a team.
McCartney didn't want to lose this program that he had built. He wanted us to be good men. He didn't just want us to be good football players.
The season was built on highs and lows, but the best thing that happened was that we finished 8-3 and we knew that we were on the cusp. So we go down to Anaheim to play in the Freedom Bowl.
Our goal was a lot higher than the Freedom Bowl. That's a stepping stone, but I know it meant a lot for Sal to be there. Just like the rest of us from Southern California, this guy was locked up in jail, called a thug, and he wanted to prove everyone wrong. He wanted to be the best athlete that he could out there.
The first cousins, second cousins, third cousins, friends, high school people, local people, they were all going.
First down and 10, CU.
I remember sitting on the sideline watching Sal play and going, something's not right.
There you'll see McCartney a little upset with that play.
Watching him live, you could tell that he was a step slow.
You know, he was trying to be the motivating Sal that he could, but it was almost a glossy look in his eye, like something wasn't right. He was tired. He was breathing hard.
Aunese will fake the draw, roll, and had him open, but he threw it short, and it'll bring up second down and 10. Bill McCartney, the head coach of CU, said, let's go.
So they pull him out of the game. They put in the backup quarterback.
As we start the fourth quarter, Colorado has changed quarterbacks. They've gone to the true freshman.
And I see him on the sidelines, and you know, they're giving him oxygen.
I know Bill McCartney doesn't like to play freshmen, and there aren't many.
I'm thinking, oh, maybe he's just tired, you know.
Coach Barnett doesn't want to play me. Coach Mack, you know, made him play me. And in my mind, I knew I wasn't ready for that game.
Are you a little surprised that McCartney is keeping Hagan into the ball game? The tie ball?
The first thing that comes to your mind, you know what? he's punishing Sal.
I am surprised, unless Aunese's hurt. That's been their bread and butter all year. 2nd and 6 from the 26-yard line. Hagan to throw. Looking downfield, he throws long, and it's way over the head of Mike Pritchard, and it'll bring up 3rd down and 6.
Fourth quarter is a very important drive. The game is tied, and we came through with Sal throughout the whole season. The offensive line, they were wondering, what's going on.
Turned out to be a dumb play.
Must feel that that's the situation. J.J. Flanagan now in at tailback, but on 3rd down and 11, Hagan wants to throw, and he throws it up for grabs, and it's picked off. Picked off the 50 by Scott Peterson.
And I get out there and I just stunk the place up.
And then BYU drove it back.
The punter will hold. The ball is down. Kick is up, and it is good.
We kicked that winning field goal.
33 remaining. It's a 3-point lead for the Cougars.
Yeah, that's all she wrote. It was probably, at the time, the toughest loss that we had ever suffered.
I just felt so bad. It got to the point where I didn't want to play the quarterback position anymore. Because in my opinion, it was just too tough. And I didn't want to be that guy that let everybody down. I went to Coach Barnett and I'm like, I want to be a running back. And he was like, oh, whatever. Come back for spring ball and we'll have a plan. And I was like, I don't want to think about it. I want to be a running back. I'm done with it.
So after the game, me and Sal actually rode home together by ourselves. He goes, man, I sucked tonight. And I let our whole family down. I'm just proud that I got to see you play, I said, are you okay? And he goes, yeah, just this nagging cough.
The season itself was a success, but we weren't where we wanted to be.
In '89, we went through winter conditioning with a lot of bickering, and we had guys fighting for positions all the time. Everybody was about to fold under the pressure, and Sal stepped up and really started to say, no more. You know what? Suck it up. Let's go. Get back to practice. Next play. There was communication that started to happen, and that's when you started to see that bond on the field.
When it was snowing, cold, all the guys from Southern California, we would all make a mad rush to the training room, put tape on our face mask so air couldn't get through. The only thing you could see is eyeballs. And Sal would be like he's at the beach, nothing on his arms, probably need no socks on, just ready to go to practice. And I used to always say, how can you do this? And he goes, I don't feel it.
We were at home and he starts coughing. And it got to the point where he coughs and never stopped coughing. We just told him, oh man, you're coming down with the flu. And even Sal himself would say, yeah, I think so.
One day in particular, Sal doing all the workouts, but never finishing. That wasn't Sal. Sal was a finisher.
And we're just noticing, Sal is constantly throwing up.
And he was puking up blood. And I'm like, something ain't right.
A couple days later, he developed like a ball underneath his glands.
That's not a cold. That's not normal.
When you're 20 years old and on a football scholarship, the biggest battles in life seem to be those played against the Nebraskas and Oklahomas. But Sal Aunese has a bigger battle looming against cancer.
Sal has a serious condition where he's developed a rare type of cancer in his stomach.
Never in our wildest imagination did we anticipate something very serious.
They're telling you that it's terminal, it's inoperable, and it's spread.
Everything gonna stop.
Because he's a young individual and that these people often do respond well to chemotherapy, that will have some success in battling Sal's cancer.
What are we gonna say? Who's gonna talk first? Who's gonna ask questions first?
What do you say to a kid who is your hero?
We got to the hospital, we went up, and we saw everybody was there, it was crowded. Sal sat up from the bed, he's laughing. I said, man, I'm gonna beat this. That was the first words that came out of his mouth. You guys worry about me too much. I said, that's how it is.
So it was wonderful to see that outpouring of support. from his teammates.
On Monday, Aunese starts chemotherapy treatments here at University Hospital. After a couple of weeks, he has a choice. He can stay here in Colorado and continue the treatments, or go back to Oceanside, California, go home to continue the treatments. Aunese says right now, he wants to stay in Colorado, close to his teammates.
Whatever we need to do, we're here for you, Sal, and we're gonna just go through this together.
We put it all in God's hands. Pray.
You will never see a small family. When this happened, they will fall apart. That's where they come close. And I think that's what keeping Sal going.
We were devastated. No one saw that coming.
I got the call from Mac and I just sat there. And I can tell you, I just couldn't believe it. And he didn't deal a whole lot with it. His next statement was, you got to get Darian ready.
Coach Burnett calls me and he said, what are you doing? And I knew if I told him the truth, I would be in trouble. So I told him I just finished working out. So he told me, sit down. You need to grow up and be a man. He said, it's time for you to lead this team. Sal has 6 months to live. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? He's like, no, he has 6 months to live. You're the guy. And then from that point on, my life changed.
That first round of treatment, it was like, did you have chemo? He wasn't feeling sorry for himself. He didn't want us to feel sorry for himself. He carried on his life as normal as possible.
You think a kid like that can fight it off. He fought off everything else. He'll win this battle too.
I know I'm going to beat this with the help of the Lord and all the support I've been getting. I'd like to thank everybody for all that. I appreciate it, and I'll be back on the field sooner than most people would think.
Just has probably one of the best attitudes of any person I've ever seen that's faced with such a serious, threat.
I mean, we were up there for a week with Sal. Everything was encouraging. So heck, we were thinking, wow, Sal is going to beat this.
If anybody can beat it, it's going to be Sal.
It was a record attendance for any spring alumni CU game. The magnitude of it was beyond what we could have ever imagined.
He came out on that field, and it was emotionally uplifting for everyone, a part of that family at the time.
And they did honor Sal at halftime. It was beautiful.
It's no surprise to see so many of you, because Sal's been inspired and led others since he was a youngster.
I'd like to thank God for bringing me here today, and He is the one that's given me the strength. I'd like to thank the city of Boulder, the state of Colorado, our teammates here. God bless and see you next year.
The people of Boulder and the CU family were so hospitable and caring and loving towards us.
I looked into Sal's eyes and go, I'm going nowhere.
He would tell you all the time, I love you, he respects you. It changed me, for the better. He was the big brother I never had. People tell you they love you and believe in you, you do anything for them.
All we wanted was him to come back and get in that huddle with us. We're gonna ride this thing out. He'll be back in the fall to join us. And that was an uplifting moment for us.
We got the call from Christy that she was going into labor.
His mom and sister were in the room with me when I had TC. Sal was one of the first people to hold him, and he had the biggest smile on his face. It was just comforting to have him there, even though he had hurt me.
When I saw him hold his son in his hands and this is a part of him, it was resonating. There was no look of sadness. It was only he was elated. He was so happy.
He was like a proud father. That was his boy.
We went down to San Diego. I seen him after chemotherapy. We were at some bar down there. Something happened. I look up and Sal's fighting with this guy. He just came out of chemotherapy.
Despite chemotherapy, he looks the picture of health now, but people treat him differently.
I think sometimes they don't know what to say.
which I can understand in their situation. But I just want them to treat me normal, just like any other person, because I feel I'm not sick, and if I am, I know I'm gonna get better.
In his heart, I could see that he was determined to beat it. So when he would say that to the press, he lived that even behind the scenes with us.
And there was a point where Sal had gained weight back. And I say, Sal, how you feel? And he put his arm up. He said, see you this year.
And also I was saying, man, stop crying. I'm going to be there in the opening. He's going to be the quarterback.
No, I'm not. If I'm 85, 90%, I'm not going to play. I'm just risking myself, to further injury. But if I'm 100% and the doctor gives me okay, I'll be out there giving it my best.
I was really, satisfied with letting Sal, play it out. And then once, I became a junior, then I would take over.
I never forget the day he came back, and he looked good. I was like, man, Sal is gonna beat this thing.
Once the news was out, letters were coming into the hospital, calls, and just people just offering to do this, offering to, if our family needed anything. We were overwhelmed, in regards to, my gosh, why are all these people caring and just coming out? And, it was wonderful. It was really wonderful.
It was a different kind of dribbling for the CU basketball buffs and lady buffs. A benefit car wash at a Texaco station for the Sal Aunese Scholarship and Medical Fund.
A lot of people across the country follow sports, know all about Sal and the kind of things that he did for our athletic program with the football team, all the teams up here, and that's why these kids are out here.
So we really want to support Sal and Sal's family because he supported us, and we just want to show the thanks.
That's right. Sal supported us a great deal last year, and he supported the Lady Buffs too. He used to come out to the games, and we didn't have a real great season last year, but that didn't matter to Sal. He was at every game and cheering us on, and he liked to ride those officials real hard.
We're having prayer, and the phone rings, and I look over at Ruta, and Ruta's letting the phone ring. She finally picks it up.
The person on the phone on the other end said he would like to speak with Sal, please. And I said, okay. And I said, can you please call back? We're getting ready to pray. And so the guy says, oh, sure, no problem.
And I could tell from Ruta's face expression that was someone important. Then I see her hanging up. So I'm waiting for my dad to end the prayer. And I asked Ruta, who was that?
President Reagan. They said he'll call back. And everybody's looking at me like, you hung up on President Reagan? I said, we're getting ready to pray.
I was like, yeah, Reagan ain't gonna call back. Sure enough, the phone rings again. Ruta picks it up and gives it to him. Sal's face, just the glow. He was so happy. He's got a whole nation to lead, but, he gave me a call.
Sal will make it out. The days that he feels good, he will come out to practice. I always remember him say, just keep fighting. Don't think about him. Don't feel sorry for me.
He goes to Darian and said, I'm going to give this to you. I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to mentor you.
I was thrust into the situation where I had to play just like him. I had to master our offense just like him. And if I was going to do that, I had to study. I had to prepare. Coach Barnett and I would meet twice a day, before we had our regular meetings for spring ball.
I would have Sal come in and meet and be in the meetings with our quarterbacks as many times as he could.
Sal was in Hagen's ear every step of the way.
I got to grow up. I got to be dedicated. I got to learn the system. I couldn't read a defense to save my life. And the only way I was going to play, and I got this from Sal, is if you can master reading defenses.
Like prepping your younger brother to eventually take over what Sal was doing.
Sal motivated Hagen more than anyone else. He realized that he had big shoes to fill. He had to grow up fast.
Didn't want to let Sal down, and I didn't want to let Coach Barnett down.
He continued to give everybody the hope that he was going to beat this thing. He never once said, I'm losing the battle.
When we went to camp in August, Coach Mack was running 3-a-days, and it was tough.
I hadn't seen Sal in 3 weeks. Somebody was driving him around on a golf cart. I didn't even recognize Sal. He was probably 90 pounds. His hair was gone. He had a breathing tube. He looked like, he was 80, 90 years old. And he just drove by and looked at me and went like that. I thought,
It was everything for him to be able to go and see the guys. It was medicine for him.
He's battling a tougher opponent than we're going to see. He's courageously battling, and he isn't giving an inch. He's tough.
Sal wouldn't want us being depressed, and so we keeping him in our prayers and praying for him every day. But we're just going out here, we're thinking about him, we just want to enjoy it. We're dedicating the season to him.
And that's when it really hit home. Sal is actually really, really fighting for his life.
He could have been laying up in the hospital for show up to practice. When it was out there and it was hot, Sal was there, and whether he had to bring his breathing machine and with his oxygen, Sal was there. And it's like, why are we sitting around talking about how tired we are? We can be out there, another play, let's get it done. Let's make this play right, because we have no excuses. There is no excuse. So if Sal can deal with it, you know what, we can deal with it a little bit more.
Guys tend to get selfish playing the sport. You couldn't be selfish and think about Sal at the same time. If this guy can fight and do the things that he's doing, your ankle injury, your mental makeup, or whatever you're going through, it doesn't matter. And that's just what he resonated. He was a team guy, and you just wanted to be just like him.
It was the opening game of that season is where Sal came to practice and he whispered to Hagen, "Is your team?"
And a crowd of 50,000 is here to see Colorado face the Texas Longhorns. Good evening, everybody. Mike Patrick along with Gene Washington, and it's great to have you with us on ESPN for Texas and Colorado. Colorado has dedicated its season to their ill quarterback, Sal Aunese, and they have his name emblazoned on their jerseys, and it's been a very emotional roller coaster ride for this ball club.
But this is a team that has an awful lot of talent. You look at the quarterback, Darren Hagen. I have to tell you, the butterflies in that kid's stomach must be huge. First game here playing Texas.
The one thing they will not do is put it in Hagen's hands early, trying to keep the pressure off of him.
I had all the weight in the world on my shoulders. I had to lead older guys. So they were not as confident as I was. And once they seen what I could do, everything just took off.
Outline formation. Hagen on the outside and keep. Wide open. Hagen at the 50. He might go all the way. Richard from behind has him at the 3.
Well, if the coach wanted his quarterback to have good things happen, it certainly did.
It was a pivotal moment, From that point on, we had a different mindset.
All the guys in the huddle, they were like, now we ready to play.
I would imagine they're going to run to their power. You're right.
Touchdown.
every time I would hear Hagen, I think of Sal.
I took on Sal's personality. How he, talked in the huddle, his quarterback stance, his cadence.
Hagen wants to throw. Near side has Pritchard to the 20-yard line.
I never heard a quarterback call cadence like those two.
Hagen has taken over the leadership role on this football team.
Hagen throws. Touchdown.
Almost overnight, he was a changed kid.
For Hagen to be able to go out there and get himself focused so quickly, it's a testament to his talent and to what Sal told him.
That's how good Hagen was. Hagen was the real deal.
What did you think about Sal before the game?
Yeah, he was there tonight and inspired all of us. We all saw him in the stands, and in a lot of ways that really helped us win this game. I was telling him I didn't want to mess up. I didn't want to get the team down on me early. So he just told me, just go out there and take that first hit. And after that first hit, everything will be downhill. Everything will go good for you. That's what happened.
That was the first time that guys really started respecting me. I wanted to make sure these guys realized their dreams and their aspirations.
The goal of the Colorado Buffaloes was to get to the Orange Bowl this year, and the man who wanted to lead them there was Sal Aunese. He's been their leader for the past couple of years, and Sal is not on the sideline this year. He's battling inoperable stomach and lung cancer. The Buffs still striving toward that goal of the Orange Bowl with their quarterback in mind every step of the way.
The Colorado Buffaloes end each workday on one knee with one prayer for the survival of their friend and quarterback.
We are one. 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 Yes, sir, you're one.
Sal Aunese is fighting cancer. Inoperable tumors are attacking his stomach and lungs.
We dedicate the season totally to Sal, and even going as far as putting having his name sewn on our jerseys. And we want him to know that he's always on our mind. He's going to be with us everywhere we go.
There's a feeling that can't really explain, but I know deep in my heart that he'll be here.
Yeah, it was a free fall for me. I wanted to give up. Coach Mack reached out, said, I wouldn't want you to do that. To finish the journey. It's true that, a best friend, a brother would not want you to give up. It was something that Sal would want.
Because Sal has difficulty breathing, he's forced to take in oxygen 24 hours a day through tubes in his nose. Each and every day, his sister or his brother bring him here to the University Hospital in Denver for short sessions of radiation therapy designed to attack the cancer cells.
He just tore me to pieces just to see him go from this big, healthy guy to down this fragile person, like seemingly overnight.
He just wants to live so bad, and that's what I see in him. That's what I see in his eyes. He just wants to live. I haven't seen the bitterness. I haven't seen the denial. All I've seen is the hope in his eyes.
We'd go see him at the hospital and everything, and he would take off his oxygen mask and just wave to him and say, "Hi, son. I love you."
Christy would bring him by on certain days after chemotherapy. It just lifted our spirits and even helped Sal. It didn't matter that he was so sick. It was just only about enjoying him, seeing him, and that's all that mattered.
He never let you know he was sick. He was always joking around and always being the same guy. He always wanted to have a scouting report and watch films, and that's just the kind of guy Sal was.
Through his oxygen mask, he would tell us, this is where I think that they're weak, and this is, are you going to run this play, and you guys are going to run 60 gopher, and here's what you're probably going to see. And he was into it, and it took his mind off of something for a while that he was fighting, where he could just kind of be normal in a way.
When I went to the hospital, walking into the room, and
he said, "Jay, don't ever be sad. I'm going to be all right." I remember asking him, "How do you do this?" And Sal says, "I live each week to watch you guys play."
I told him, I said, "Sal, we are going to get to this national championship game, and we are going to win it. We're not just going to get there. We are going to win this thing." And he was like, "I hear you, Soup. I hear you."
The Buffalo is back on the roam in the Great Plains of college football. Colorado is emerging as a force in the Big 8 Conference. They have a high-powered offense led by tailback Eric Bieniemy and a Houdini-like sophomore quarterback, Darian Hagan. This, coupled with a relentless defense, has the Buffalo faithful thinking of the Orange Bowl for the first time since 1977. Down below this breathtaking backdrop, today we'll witness a rugged showdown between 10th-ranked Illinois and the 8th-ranked Colorado Buffaloes.
Okay, Ralphie, it's all yours.
You know, Jim, you and Pat and I have already talked about the way the Colorado team has supported their cancer-stricken quarterback, Sal Aunese. Well, it's not just Colorado, it's also Illinois. The Illini came to town bearing gifts this week. Autographed footballs, signed banners, cards, an outpouring of good feeling. Obviously, Illinois realizes also that Sal's battle transcends any football game.
We knew it was going to be tough. Illinois was coming in highly ranked. I remember that week was really stressful because Sal was really not doing well. We'd been over to the place a couple of times to see him, and you could tell that he was going downhill, and was kind of talked about with our team that we didn't know if he was going to make it much longer. But when we got out there, Illinois, typically they bring their captains out, and Illinois had showed up and all their team was out where their captains were standing right behind them.
Ready for war from Folsom Field.
Jimmy, these teams have never played one another. It's not like it's a grudge match or anything.
Well, the intrepid Sal Aunese is here today. He has been here at the 2 previous home games. He's in a private suite. We'll be watching his Buffaloes today battle against Illinois. We're looking at number 3, Darian Hagan. Option wizard.
As soon as I got eye contact with him, I put both my hands in the air and wanted him to know that he was right there with us.
To see him fight like that, we were inspired.
3rd and goal. It's Bieniemy, and he's in for the touchdown. Griffin. Run out by Tim James. 1st and 10. Here's a pass from Bieniemy. MJ Nelson's down there. He'll score the touchdown for Colorado. Slow start last year, eventually leading to a bowl game. Flanagan with running room. Look out, he may go.
We couldn't stay the duration of the game. Sal was getting weaker. So we went home. We turned on the TV.
They've dedicated this season to their cancer-stricken quarterback and spiritual leader, Sal Aunese, and they've won again to increase their record now to 3-0. The Chevrolet most valuable players of the game are Sal Aunese for Colorado, the inspiration for this team that is now looking forward to Big 8 play.
We didn't know that that was going to happen. His eyes welled up and he excused himself. He was so moved by that. It was surreal.
Everybody had Sal on their mind. We had a bye week. And I know that everybody was concerned that Sal wasn't going to make it because he didn't have something to look forward to that weekend, and he was not in good shape.
Mac calls us all together. Mac said, you guys need to pray for Sal. They don't think he's going to make it another day.
We had gone to the hospital. In the room was Sal's family. Coach Mac was there, Christy was there, Lindy was there.
We started singing songs. It was very emotional in the room.
My brother looked at me and he squeezed my hand and he closed his eyes. He had this glow and a peaceful smile, just radiant.
Colorado Buffaloes finally have the talent to challenge for the Big 8 title. Former Colorado quarterback won't be around to enjoy the season.
Sal's been a tremendous inspiration for all of us, and he really is a tremendous warrior and put up one of the greatest fights that anyone could ever imagine.
Tomorrow, a couple of thousand folks from across Colorado will gather inside Mackey Auditorium, hoping to find some explanation, or at least some comfort to ease the pain.
came to share in the tradition of Sal Auneste's Samoan homeland. Here at Vista High School, the students, the coaches, and the teachers have been remembering their hometown hero. A moment of silence in Friday night's game, a special tribute on the field, a memorial service in the school gym. Now it's the town's turn to remember. Hundreds packed the First Samoan Congregational Church. Family, friends, football teammates from CU all came to shed some tears and remember the good times.
We saw Sal, the competitor, beyond fighting the greatest of odds. But we never saw him down. We never saw him drop his chin. We never saw him when he wasn't upbeat and spirited and positive and calling us on. We knew he was suffering, but we didn't see the pain.
I get an advantage over most of you because you see, he left me a grandson. The same flair for life and the same mischievous streak that we saw in the left-hander from Vista.
Not only does he care about others, he taught others how to care. That was Sal Aunese. I see you, Sal.
I can't explain it, but I'm fortunate. I had 21 years of knowing a brother like this.
And I don't think he lost. I think maybe there was a greater plan for Sal somewhere, because I think he still won. Because he certainly was never a loser in life.
We went to play Washington. And nobody knew how we were going to show up.
You don't know how they're going to respond, because they're dealing with this. We were all living it out the first time through. I didn't know what to expect.
And a big game at Husky Stadium. The Huskies hosting Colorado, the Buffaloes with perhaps their finest team in history. They rolled over Texas, Colorado State, and Illinois. And coming to this game ranked 5th in the country. Now, emotion could play a large role in tomorrow's Washington-Colorado game at Husky Stadium. The unbeaten Buffaloes lost a teammate this week when quarterback Sal Aunese died of cancer.
Everything that we work for was all going to be dedicated to him, because he fought his life to try and get back on that field to share those glorious moments with us. And we were going to do whatever it took.
And here comes a moment of silence for number 8, Sal Aunese.
What it did was it brought us together. It bonded us in a way that you almost never see.
As soon as we came up from that knee, it was on. everything that we had on that field for the rest of the year.
Conklin, the quarterback. Compton is 36. Lewis is 20. That is Lewis in motion. Conklin to throw on first down. He's got time. And it's intercepted.
And sure enough, I picked the ball off in the end zone. And I thought, wow. Because it's Sal, you know, this is like, I'm thinking, wow. Because that's him, you know.
Picked off by Tim James, the free safety. And Colorado has the football back at the 8-yard line.
I tell you what, University of Washington didn't have a chance that day. I can say that now. They didn't have a chance.
We became a team with a mission. Whatever the coaches asked the players to do, they said how high, how far, how much. They just subscribed.
Because they were playing for someone other than themselves. They were playing for Sal.
Sal was a big factor in this game. This is the game that he wanted when he was here. We had a plane seat for him. We had a table at dinner for him. We had a bed for him, and he was here right here with us.
Season, and no one has even been within 17 points of Colorado this year. They will come right at you, the Buffaloes.
Every time we stepped on the field, you wanted to play at your best. That was your way of giving the ultimate respect to an ultimate warrior.
That team was as united as a team can possibly get.
The return man, Campbell, leads the Big Eight in punt returns. Short boot coming to midfield. Campbell will run right. Gets away from the wave. He's got room. Inside the 30. Out of bounds inside of the 5.
This was a great football team. There's no doubt in my mind that Sal Aunese was their leader. None whatsoever.
Coach, an emotional victory. It's the biggest game of your life. Can you tell us?
Oh yeah, it's the biggest. It's as sweet as it gets, and I couldn't be prouder of our players and coaches. They've won it for Sal.
We all did it because we love him. And a lot of people try to, throw salt at it and say it was fake and it was made up and all that stuff. But no, it was true brotherhood, true love, true passion for our fallen leader.
Had I not seen that look in Sal's eyes, I don't know where I would be today.
I think I made him proud.
themselves.
We're here. We can carry out his legacy.
It taught me about love. It taught me about respect. It taught me about time. You have way more fight in you than you ever think you had, and you got to dig deep into your heart to go get it.
This team, driven by the courage and memory of their deceased spiritual leader, Sal Aunese, who only hours before he passed away on September 23rd, wrote these words to his teammates. Don't be saddened that you no longer see me in the flesh, because I will always be with you in spirit. Hold me dear to your hearts, as you know I do all of you. I love you all. Go get them, and bring home the Orange Bowl. It was signed, Love Sal.
It's very emotional simply because of the fact that our friend Sal Aunese wanted to live for this. It wasn't God's blessing for him to live to see this, but I know he was there with us.
Never in my wildest dream, I'll be one of the players on a team that will be playing for the national championship.
We were 11-0 that year, only undefeated team in the country. And we took that momentum, we just built on it.
I think with Sal, I think that the team loved and respected him so much that they were willing to give more of themselves as a team and less of themselves as individuals. And that's really where championships are won. There are many times when football was first and family was last. I think our family got stronger through this and got closer, and that's the bond that has emerged there as a result of this.
TC has brought so much joy, not just to me, but to so many other people, including Sal's family. From the moment he could, he loved football. He wanted to be just like his dad in every way, and he's always wanted to be number 8. My dad has been a huge influence in his life.
And I'll always appreciate the fact that I've got a grandson. TC is a tremendous young man.
I want to be a head coach someday, and I want to win a national championship, multiple. I mean, that's the goal.
I bet you he's going to become a great coach. And I bet you he won't make all the mistakes his grandpa made.
He was more than a football player to Colorado. He was more than a leader.
Strength that they're finding religious. They're marked in various ways. Sal on the back of the linebacker, Michael Jones, shaved into his head. You'll see his number 8 throughout the uniforms and bodies of this Colorado team. There's something that drives this team beyond just the national championship, as Sal Aunese and his final letter was read at his funeral. And the Irish have won 21-6.
That year, we kind of blew everybody out. And we get to the championship game, and it's more of a contest than we've had all year. And I don't think we knew how to respond. The next year, every game went to the fourth quarter. And we had to dig deep,
we had to, reach for things that we never, reached for.
So 1 minute 5 seconds will separate the Colorado Buffaloes from their national championship dream. And the Irish with the Rocket, Ismail, standing back waiting for the punt. With no timeouts for Lou Holtz, will have to go to the arm with Rick Myers.
I'm sure Bruin will kick out of bounds. He'll punt out of bounds. He has to.
First priority is to get the kick away. The Irish will send 10 men. Now they're back off. Well done. The Rocket at the 10. Here's Corral for a moment. Breaks it out clear. One man to beat. He won't get him. The Rocket Ismail has done it again. Touchdown Notre Dame.
I see a flag, Dick. I see a flag.
There is a flag down at the Notre Dame 37, so hold on. Sensational individual effort by Raghib, the Rocket Ismail. 91 yards, but will it count? On the field. He is absolutely a brilliant, brilliant athlete. But it won't count. Let's see if we can pick up the clip. 21-yard line is where they put the ball down.
26 coming to the inside. Well, he did make a difference. It was contact. The helmet behind the body, so it was contact, no question about it.
And now, instead of a celebration of an incredible touchdown run by the Rocket Ismail, they'll have to start from the 21.
Well, that's the way I feel, and I think you got to give a lot of credit to our defense holding that team to 9 points, because that team is very prolific. And then, of course, we were lucky there. They clipped on Rocket's run back, but you got to give our kids a lot of credit. We've come back all year, and we feel great right now. Thank you. Congratulations again. Thank you.
That was as focused and as well coached a football team as I've competed against, not only that year, but in my entire career.
Led by backup quarterback Charles Johnson, Colorado has defeated Notre Dame 10-9. Indeed, they did get a second chance, and they have made a first impression.
Charles Johnson, what a job coming off that bench, not getting the practice time that Hagan got by any stretch, and the poise he showed, the poise he demonstrated, the character of this ball club.
The night of the national championship game, Hagan tried to convince me. He said I had a dream that we won the national championship, but I wasn't the quarterback, you were the quarterback. And I said, Hagan, look, I came here to watch, be a part of this team. I don't plan on taking this baseball cap off, and I'm holding this clipboard. So you go out there and do what you've done for this university for 4 years. You lead us to victory. I don't hear anything else about some crazy dreams. He said, okay, I'm just letting you know that's exactly what I just had I got this funny feeling. The night of the game, I still wasn't convinced that I would be thrust into the role in that I found myself in.
I think there was a divine intervention that made us tougher. It made us not give up. It made us appreciate the little things. And in the end, I think Sal was looking down on us and, helping us out.